that I had and have with her, and how fortunate I have been to have her and have had her in my life for 62 years. And it was it kind of came on suddenly, and it was a little bit surprising because she developed an infection, and the rest kind of just took its course there. And eventually we put my mom on palliative care, which basically you just stop doing the medicine and that kind of the antibiotics and that kind of thing because her body just wasn't going to be able to tolerate any of it. And so she passed away yesterday morning. And I will tell you, Sunday night when she was Sunday night and Monday morning when she was still could hear and was still lucid. It couldn't talk very well necessarily, but she could hear, and you could see into her eyes. And so those were some really super important and impactful times in this process. And I thank God for those moments where I was able to literally see. I felt like when I looked into her eyes, and this was Monday morning after Sunday being able to talk to her and everything else, but Monday morning, before she ultimately just kind of went out and then um, was still breathing for a couple days. But I will never forget looking into her eyes, and I'm telling you, not being mystical about this, that I honestly saw heaven in her eyes. I honestly felt like I did. And it was a comforting moment because I mean, a couple times, and I'm sure some of you have been through this before and watched this before. So a couple times she was, I mean, this is just these things that happen. It just proves so much that God is here, that God is among us. It's just incredible. So a couple times she would take both of her arms, and it would look like she was either hugging someone or being hugged or something. But it was like she was kind of going up. I don't know whether it was kind of like to be grabbed or whatever, but both of her arms would go up, and I honestly was seeing her interacting with our Lord Jesus Christ. I'm not kidding you. And that was uh, hugely comforting and just amazing that to watch that happen. And then she had kind of a favorite part of the hospital room where she would look off because she was seeing something, and you could tell she was seeing something because she'd we'd look at each other and do whatever, and then she ultimately would kind of always train her eyes on this one part of the room. And uh, loving her so much and having this close relationship with her so much, I was so happy for her in that sense because I saw her interacting with the the unearthly world, heaven, in that place. It was really incredible. And when you love somebody so much like that, it's really comforting. Oddly enough, it doesn't inspire fear or whatever because I know, of course, where my mom is right now, and I knew exactly where she was going, and so it was really just a beautiful thing for her. I was so happy for her, and I can only imagine just how wonderful her existence is right now. I think of all the people. She's 96 years old, and all these people who have passed before her, particularly her grandfather, Martin, who she loves so much, and her parents who have been gone for so long, and her sister, and all these people, and her friends, Mrs. Gallagher, who she used to have Galliano and cigarettes in the pool that was really just a horse trough in the backyard. Put their lawn chairs in there, sit in the water and smoke and drink Galliano. And they're together now. And I can't imagine what kind of party is going on there right now. On top of actually having God as the host. I mean, that so to me, it I am going to miss her. And in fact, because Monday was always kind of our vodka and scripture night. She happened to be obviously in the hospital last Monday, but I still read the scripture to her, and the gospel was John 3:16. And we always used to call them kind of the greatest hits of the Bible. And John 3:16 is indeed one of the greatest hits. For God so loved the world, he gave it his only begotten son. You guys are familiar with that. And so that was a particularly meaningful gospel to read to my mom on Monday. And then her passing away on Wednesday morning. But it was really an incredible experience. I was so happy for her in that instance, and she had such an impact on her family and everybody in this world and during her life. And the one thing that I remember about her mostly than anything, and I feel like I get this from her, is her joyfulness. I don't know, maybe some of you would describe me as being joyful, but her, she didn't sweat anything. She didn't sweat anything. And she was really a good person. She was a patient parent. I kind of laugh about things like this because it is kind of funny when we'd reminisce, and I think I've told this on the air before when I said, "Well, Mom, you sure you made things go a long way for us kids. I'm pretty sure you watered down the milk." And my mom responded, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure you watered down my vodka." I'm like, "Oh." She knew and never said anything about it. But we're like, you act like, they'll never know. It's what, of course they do. The other story, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to, I'm talking about drugs all the time, but so my sister and I, who I was 2 years apart. So we were kind of thick as thieves at that point, and we were trying to grow a pot plant in the bathtub on the third floor of the house. Had our grow light and all that stuff, whatever. And I don't know what we were thinking. And one day, that pot plant was gone. And we were pretty sure who took it and threw it away. And it was, of course, my mom. But my mom never said a word to us. And we certainly didn't say a word to her like, "Hey, Mom, where's our pot plant?" No, she didn't have to. And we didn't have to. And so that's kind of how she disciplined everything else. And she was really super gentle and firm, and you trusted her. And she just had this way of having this queenly existence in that sense. And I remember too, she wasn't a pushover, that's for sure. Cause I remember when I was really littler, and back in those days, if you were potty mouthed, they'd wash your mouth out with soap. And I'll never forget my mom one time telling me, "If you keep up with that, I'm going to wash your mouth out with soap." And I guess what I did? I kept up with it. And guess what she did? She washed my mouth out with soap. And I never did it again. So, I mean, I'm not kidding you. I was shocked, but that's what happens, but that's how she did it. And she was always so loving. You can't imagine her grandchildren, and unfortunately her great grandchildren aren't going to be able to, they're so young, but her grandchildren, she had just as much of an impact on the grandkids. Like, for instance, my kids, my 5 kids, and I'm the youngest of 6, so she has 18 grandchildren. So, and her influence on their lives, it's almost like she served 2 different generations in that sense. Us as the 6 kids, and then another set of kids that have had a huge impact on our life. So, thank you all so much for your prayers and your thoughtfulness. And I appreciate Chris Arps yesterday and Tim Jones on Tuesday and Mike Ferguson on Monday for taking care of the show. I really appreciate that. And so I put something up on the Facebook page if you want to see it. I'll probably going to, by the time the week's over, it's like, Allman's got another Facebook post about his mother. But, it's going to be that way. But just wanted to let you all know that I appreciate all of you more than maybe you even know. All right. So, cancel culture? Conservative cancel culture? Nah. Maybe it's conservative accountability culture, but lots of lefties with faces that have turned to alabaster after they have found that the world does not put up with their crap anymore. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. Nick Shore going to be on as well. And don't forget, go to newstalk.com. You can still get tickets to the Steve Forbes event, which is happening tonight at the Scheidegger Center at Lindenwood, and I'll talk more about that as well. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
It almost seems common sense, but, alas, common sense isn't so common these days.
News Talk STL.
So Brian Allman with O'Fallon Family Floors, such a great guy. And, of course, I knew that even before he started to sponsor the Allman Report show. Such variety, amazing workmanship, attention to installation detail. He has generational installers. These are people whose dads were installers. It runs in the family. He goes out and does all the measuring himself. He will come to you. He's got the mobile unit, which will have all of the flooring options for you, so you can actually see, how it's going to look in your house. The varieties basically make the varieties at the big box stores like miniatures. I mean, you might see 7 varieties of vinyl plank at one of the box stores. He's got 70. So that's the kind of variety that Brian has. Variety, low pricing, and I trust him so much. So I had a person who I just got into a house through my real estate, and she wanted to redo all of her floors. And I said, I know a guy. And that's the great thing about doing this show is I know a lot of people who are sponsoring the show, so I can give you any tip you want. So he comes over, does it, and there was another bid. And I did tell him, I said, she's going to get another bid. He goes, well, I'm going to have fun beating it, so it's not going to be a big deal. O'FallonFamilyFloors.com, right there on Highway K in O'Fallon. O'FallonFamilyFloors.com.
Success. It's discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us that comes before all recognition. It's the best in each of us, made better by the best in all of us. Whatever success looks like to you, Stifel is invested in yours. That's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. So whether you're an advisor or an investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Window World, simply the best for less. So proud to have them as a sponsor of free common sense conservative radio, the preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. And that's exciting, especially as we head into the season. 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800. By the way, you get it. Preferred window of the St. Louis Blues. You know, they get all the glass there around the rink. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Allman, we get it. Oh, okay. Just want to make sure. All right. Good housekeeping seal of approval. And, of course, ranked number 1 in windows sold in the country by Qualified Remodeler magazine. Window World loves its windows as much as so many people in America do. In fact, Window World loves the windows so much, they have a lifetime warranty attached to these windows that covers all parts, glass breakage, as well as labor. They use a double-strength glass, gives it a strength not commonly used in replacement windows. See, these are highfalutin windows, but at a low-falutin cost, right? Simply the best for less. Window World, 314-993-1800.
This whole thing's got me thinking about how privileged I've been.
America's a wonderful country.
If I were a black man, I'd be furious.
We're getting frustrated.
Number 1 for live and local
conservative talk.
There's certain issues that we need improvement.
They would rather have this country on its knees than be successful.
news, analysis, opinion.
We have common sense, and the Democrats have none.
1019 and 94.1.
And I appreciate the discussion.
St. Louis is number 1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL. The latest news.
Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk has died.
Happens right here.
The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement. Partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice.
1019 and 94.1. News Talk STL.
I'm tired of seeing pretty people everywhere. I am not a model, middle fingers in the air.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Common Sense Radio. The Fed's cutting the interest rate a quarter point, so that's pretty good. Going into the end of the week in a good state, people. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Did I say that already? Ashley, did I say that already? I don't remember. See if I can get my buddy Jordan Rosenblum on to talk all about that. See what's going on in the offing for your refis and all that stuff. So yeah, it looks like the left is suddenly getting a taste of its own medicine. You know, it's interesting how I'm not really super comfortable with what's happening with Jimmy Kimmel necessarily. It's simply just because the government kind of started running its mouth about things. And at that point, you're like, okay, listen, we already had earlier in the week Pam Bondi at first talk about the government prosecuting speech, which is like, you got to be kidding me. She walked it back. I get it. But then the FCC starts talking publicly about what they're seeing on TV, and then there's an action that results after they're talking about what is happening on TV. Then suddenly you're getting into a little bit of a pickle because you're handing the left-wing crazies ammunition in their claim somehow that we're fascists, even though we're not, and Trump's not, and everything else. And then you also set yourself up for the possibility that you're teaching the left and Democrats how to act if they ever get power again, which is probably the chances of that are zero. But nonetheless, they're thinking, oh, so you mean if we get our FCC guy in there, we can start to threaten companies and do that kind of thing. And then they'll start doing that. And in fact, they kind of already have. I mean, the left is already has done that. I've been there. I have the T-shirt, so I know what this is all about. And so Kimmel is in a situation where, you know, he was expendable probably because his show stunk and very few people were watching it. And the value of the show had been depleted quite a bit. It's kind of as the Colbert thing. where he started to be to be costing a lot more than he was bringing in. And you never want to be that guy. You never want to be that person who is costing the company more money than you're bringing in. That starts to become a real problem in probably any industry you happen to be in. So that's the other problem. And ABC probably figured, well, this would be a good time just to kind of whack him because then we could probably cut our losses. Although Kimmel's probably going to make a big deal of this because that's the way people like Jimmy Kimmel are. They are incurable narcissists, and he'll make a big deal of this. And, and then the left is making a big deal of this. Eric Swalwell, who quite possibly is one of the most annoying political figures on the planet. I mean, he's even worse than Schiff. Went on the CNN and did this.
I see you are wearing a hat. What does that hat say?
You're damn right I am, John.
You're damn right I am, John. He's such a tool. I mean, seriously, when you look at a guy like that, that's the kind of guy that got his butt kicked a lot in school. There's almost zero possibility he didn't get mob attacked every time he walked the hallways.
I was a guest on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. He every night has a right to come into any house that wants to watch.
Actually, he that's a little bit of a stretch, wouldn't you say? That he has a right to be on television? He really doesn't. I mean, it's a cruel world out there, Hey, by the way, Julie, thank you. I put the video up on the Facebook page of my mom. There's a lot of videos like that. She loves saying "I love you," and she loved. We had a lot of fun together on the videos, and I especially put the one because she's well known for her oyster stew on Christmas. And last Christmas Eve, she was at my house, and I was able to videotape her making the oyster stew. And old school cooks, cook with vodka. For some reason, a tablespoon of vodka is a big deal in some recipes and soups and things like that. I don't know what it does necessarily. I think I forgot what it does. Looked it up. But so one time I'm helping her and I had the thing of vodka and she takes it from me and then poured it and then started a little bit of fire. This fire came up out of the soup thing. And she didn't even flinch. Like some people, especially like, oh no, it's a fire. I was like, she didn't even flinch. I said, are you okay? She goes, it's good. I'm like, okay, it's all good. I have another video out there, which is very funny. We were taping a video of, for Katie. So we were doing a video on my phone and so it was kind of like a video we were going to send Katie, who is one of her adored granddaughters, my daughter. And I said, hi, Ma. Hey, Katie, how are you? And my mom in the back was going, I'm fine. How are you? It was very funny. I have to put that up sometime. I don't want people to think I'm making fun of her because I'm not. She was just funny by her very, very nature. It was really great. So anyway, Julie, thanks for mentioning that. And off to beautiful North Carolina. All right, let's start this again. So Swalwell.
I see you are wearing a hat. What does that hat say?
You're damn right I am.
Yeah, it
John.
says Jimmy Kimmel live on my hat, Anchorman. I'm telling the world that I'm wearing a Jimmy Kimmel hat. So watch out, world.
I was a guest.
Here I come with my Jimmy Kimmel hat on.
On the Jimmy Kimmel Show, he every night has a right to come into any house that wants to watch and entertain Americans. Just as
what article is that in the Constitution again? What Jimmy Kimmel has the right to come into any home that wants to turn his TV show on.
Greg Gutfeld on Fox has a right to be not funny and go on his network and entertain.
Oh, Eric Swalwell. I wouldn't do that to Greg Gutfeld. He's got an IQ probably 100 points over yours, and all Eric Swalwell, of course, he doesn't care because Swalwell is like that guy. He got beat up a lot in school. They're almost addicted to inviting abuse. You know, people like that sometimes. It's like you can't even beat them up enough. They just keep wanting more. They're like really annoying. Mark Kason's like that. They just keep wanting you to, because they for some reason they kind of thrive off of being attacked. So
Americans, it's a part of who we are, John. And
the Jimmy Kimmel Show is a part of who we are.
Frankly, it should shake every American that the president of the United States is out there firing comedians who make fun of him.
So I'm sorry. Donald Trump fired Jimmy Kimmel or ABC. Now, again, I understand that ABC had some things before the FCC, and that does happen. Back in the day, I experienced a television company that had stuff going on with the FCC. And so a totally innocuous, facetious joke led to the loss of my job. And then led the other guys to follow suit and do the same to me over something that wasn't even anything and had nothing actually to do with the tweet and everything to do with my involvement in a school board race that Stacey Newman was trying to engineer. That was my biggest mistake, was involving myself in a Ladue or Parkway school board race. And they found a way to drum something up and, make something bigger. But I've been there. Now, is that a world where we want to be? Well, companies do make financial decisions. They make decisions based on what they're doing. That's why MSNBC and NBC told their people, like, hey, you guys need to knock this off. We've got bills to pay, and you're going to be in some big trouble. I mean, it's one thing to obviously be liberal. It's another thing to be consciously cruel and dishonest. Then you're getting into an untenable situation when it comes to any kind of corporate situation or whatever. Everybody has to, balance the books and make these kinds of decisions. And if you're already a burden, which I wasn't at either place because my ratings and everything else were top notch, and I was making all the people I was working for a lot of money. But Kimmel doesn't have that, because Kimmel again is costing the ABC money already. So there's only so much you can do at that point where you're like, dude, I mean, because you already have the beacon on you because you're a waste of money and you're a burden. And we had Brian Stetler. Of course, I love the fact these guys are now. I do believe I don't want the government involved in making these kinds of decisions. And I certainly don't want the government running its mouth about being involved in these decisions. So, you don't want to hear the FCC going, oh, we're going to talk to ABC about this. It's like, that's not wise. And that's not something we want. And you're giving people ammunition that you shouldn't be giving them. And you're also giving people ideas that you shouldn't be giving them. Anyway, Brian Stetler is trying. It's the same way these people are all trying to whitewash the words of Charlie Kirk. And I've seen these kinds of things happen. I'll talk about that down the line because journalists are starting to use words that actually are themselves excusing the murder of Charlie Kirk. They're just hiding it better, and I'll have more on that. But Brian, you explain to us how everything is, buddy.
But let's back up and look at what Kimmel actually said on the program that has caused controversy. This is from Monday night in his Monday evening monologue. Kimmel suggested that the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He said, quote, the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. He said, in between the fingers.
And that's just a bald-faced lie. That's a complete and total lie. That's a provable lie. So at some point, you've got Jimmy Kimmel going on the air and essentially mocking his audience, mocking the company that employs him, because it's one thing to be left-wing and annoying and unfunny. It's another thing to actually be going out and actively destroying a product that is owned by a company. So that's where ABC probably said, we just can't do this and we're not going to do it. And that's just how it goes. Yeah. So, all the professors, all the people who have been, by the way, training young people, you saw that the people who lost most of their jobs over this whole thing and being cruel and inhumane were educators. Now you know how people go through this laundering machine when they go to college. That's how they go from being good, solid kids to being a bunch of liberal parrots. And these people have all outed themselves. So, I'm sorry that's happened to you. You should never be forced to resign or be fired over something you say on the internet, right? Yeah. This is Common Sense Radio.
News, analysis.
I'm glad you're talking about this.
Opinion.
I'm glad you're fired up about it, too, because I know I am.
News Talk STL.
Oh, yeah. Hanson's Tree Service. I love these guys. I actually just went on their spot there to go ahead and give them a big thumbs up for all the amazing work that they are doing. Hanson's Tree Service. This is fall planting season, everybody. That means that composting mixture they have, the Magic Bean. Man, spread that around. I'll tell you one thing. I know if you're like me with my grass, you are in a situation where some of that grass is dying. So I've got to plant some new grass, spread some new grass seed, and I have to at the other point spread that Magic Bean, that composting mixture, and that will absolutely grow this wonderful, amazing lawn of yours. It'll replenish it because, man, it was a rough summer for lawns for everybody. Your vegetables, your bushes, all those kind of stuff. The Magic Bean's great. Also, the mulching, it's still time to mulch. I mean, we had a rough winter last year, maybe covered some of it in snow, but otherwise, go ahead and get that done. And, of course, your deadwooding and pruning of your trees, which is a super important thing. And that is because when we have bad weather, when we have a blustery fall, or we have a really harsh winter, ice storms and that kind of stuff, you do not want these trees or the limbs coming down on your people or your property. HansonsTree.com. That's HansonsTree.com.
Now, the Free Market Minute, brought to you by the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University.
Hey, it's Mike Ferguson from The Morning Show, and I'm here with Dr. Grant Black. And Grant, does having more economic freedom make a difference in people's lives, such as maybe helping reduce poverty?
It definitely makes a difference. Economic freedom is critical for fostering well-being and prosperity. It enables people to make their own choices and pursue their own interest, like choosing careers, starting businesses, and innovating to make the world better. It thrives in environments that empower people, promote competition, and protect property rights, all while being supported by limited and healthy government. Economic freedom is a catalyst for generating higher incomes, greater wealth, more opportunities, better access to education, and improved health at all levels of society. It makes a difference.
The John W. Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise at Lindenwood University fosters and examines market-oriented approaches to economic and social issues. To learn more, visit hammondinstitute.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Gemini Wealth Group, GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com. And Jeff Portman and the rest of the crew, they're so great, and they're so going to be able to make sure that you go into retirement solidly and with your retirement wealth managed perfectly, diversified when it comes to the investments. That's a huge, huge deal. And just comfortable. You have to go into your golden years where you're in a situation and boom, there you go. You're going to be able to kind of see what it's like to make sure that you're not, rooting through the folds of the couch for some extra change just because you have planned, because people are living 20, 30 years after they retire. And so it's super, super important for you to be able to make sure that you're ready to rock and roll and that you are strong. And that's how that's going to go for you. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, or you can call Jeff Portman directly at 314-888-0123. The GeminiWealthGroup.com, the GeminiWealthGroup.com.
Colombo and Company.
Join us every day for conversations with a wide variety of guests as we cover every angle of all the important news stories and issues you need to know about.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on News Talk STL.
Why does my heart feel so bad? Why does my soul feel so bad?
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here with you. It's Common Sense Radio. Happy you are with me. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, a couple things are going on. We've got the Steve Forbes event. That is at the News Talk STL and the Hammond Center for Free Enterprise. We're bringing Steve Forbes in, and that's going to be tonight at the Jay Scheidegger Center for the Arts. It's a beautiful auditorium there. You get free tickets still. You'll have 1,000 people coming. So you want to join the party, you can go to newstalkstl.com. And also tonight, I was supposed to be there. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be there. Nick Schroer is kicking off his campaign for re-election to the state senate. And there's nobody who is a better guy who, I got to tell you, he takes such abuse even on Facebook. Because he's brave enough to get out there and tell the truth and talk about freedom. Head of the Freedom Caucus, Missouri, and so he's a brave dude, a great guy. And Nick Schroer and Stand and Fight here on News Talk STL as well hosted that. So Nick Schroer, I regret not being able to MC the event. I was super proud to be able to do so, but because of the events of this week and my mom passing and just taking care of everybody, I'm unable to do it. But I will be thinking of you, and that's where my heart will be with you also tonight. So how you doing, buddy?
Hey, I am great, Jamie. Thank you for all you do. And hey, my family, our prayers, our campaign, the whole team, we're praying for you. I know the loss of a loved one, especially your mom, who meant so much to you. Our thoughts, our prayers are going to be with you. So we definitely understand you not being there tonight.
Yeah, well, thank you so much, Senator Schroer, and thank you for your prayers. I've been truly blessed. When people say things like that, and it's about someone you deeply, deeply love and also deeply miss, it's really, it does have an impact, So thank you so much for that. So tell me, so what's at stake here in your mind regarding the re-election to the state Senate? Because I know you had a huge impact there on the state Senate level, but it needs to continue. That's the real key for all of us.
Well, everything's at stake. I think in light of what's happening across America right now with free speech being attacked, when you have a guy who is literally a movement conservative, changing minds, changing hearts, both with spreading the word of God, but also just using his words and debating rather than getting in screaming matches, or like the Democrats do, utilizing the rules for radicals or the Communist Manifesto and using personal attacks, shouting people down when they disagree with you. Charlie Kirk was murdered because he was a civil rights icon and changing the game, going on to college campuses. And I know you said that I'm getting beat up on social media. This guy was getting beat up for many years on college campuses for what he stood for.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately a lot of hearts and minds changed, and a lot of people are fed up. We've heard from Eric Schmidt, the U.S. Senator, who is saying we are tired of the BS. We are tired of all of the Democrat talk saying, yeah, there's hate and vitriol going on both sides. No, check out social media. It's only one side who is utilizing death threats to Missouri senators like myself and many others. So everything's at stake. The First Amendment, the Second Amendment, we've got IP reform that we just passed thanks to the Freedom Caucus issuing a press release. We're the only ones that drew the line in the sand and told Governor Kehoe, hey, let's go ahead and team with the Trump administration to redraw the congressional districts and fix the IP process. But there's so much more that needs to be done, utilizing and protecting our constitutional rights, going through all of the different taxing mechanisms in our state. If this was the 1700s, would be throwing people off of the ships, not just tea. We're taxed to death right now. It's personal property tax, real estate tax, income tax. Everything that we do is taxed, and enough is enough. And moreover, look at what's happening in our government schools right now. So many teachers are being exposed with the hate and the vitriol that they're spreading, celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk. These are government schools. So we need massive reform. We need to give parents and children a choice. If the government school doesn't work for you, we are, especially with teaming with the Kehoe administration, we are prioritizing utilizing school choice in the state of Missouri. So there's so much at stake, and that's why I'm happy to announce tonight I'm running for re-election to make sure that we can make Missouri safe again and make Missouri free again.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, it still confounds me, just as a side issue with your campaign. There is not 1 ounce of hate coming out of the mouth of Charlie Kirk, and not 1 ounce of hate coming out of the mouths of any conservatives. So it's provably untrue what they're saying about both sides. What do you mean? Because we're enforcing the law, with immigration, whatever, that's hate? I mean, I just don't understand. I don't get it.
Well, it goes back to trying to put myself in their shoes, which is very hard. Because these people are weak, mentally ill, but trying to put myself in their shoes. And Charlie Kirk would always try to do that. Hey, where are you coming from? Let's talk this thing through. A lot of these Democrats, I go back to The Office, the show The Office, and Steve Carell. There was an episode where he was talking about hate speech.
Yeah.
And he said that hate speech is anything that he hates.
Yeah.
Any speech that he hates. And that's exactly what the Democrats are doing, because Charlie Kirk would utilize facts and statistics, things that you can't disprove. They're facts. They're uncontested, and they would still attack him, saying he's racist and say Donald Trump is racist. And anytime, and this is what I'm telling Republicans to do, start asking questions. On the Senate floor, the day after he was murdered, I was having a conversation with a Democrat from the Kansas City area, and she said that Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to die, but he was racist. And I said, well, give me an example.
Yeah.
And she brought up I guess Charlie saying that the judge Ketanji Brown Jackson was a DEI hire. But by his very own admission, Joe Biden said, I don't care about who's the smartest, who's the best. I want a black woman. So absolutely she was a DEI hire. And these are the things that the Democrats, they're just labeling everything homophobic, Nazis, everything that they hate. They're labeling as hate speech. And that's not necessarily the case. And that's why we do have to stand and fight. That was the name of my show for a reason. People like Charlie Kirk, people that are going out onto college campuses, going into the Lions Den, changing hearts, changing minds. That's what we need to do. And I think 2025 is the perfect time to get off your butt and start having the courage, like Charlie Kirk did, to start speaking up for the values, your Christian values, conservative values that you want to protect here in our state.
Yeah, I mean, criticizing a racist policy known as DEI makes you a racist. So that's ultimately projection, but DEI is in itself racist. Very few people want to say that because it seems like you're insensitive, whatever, but it absolutely is true. And it's funny, Nick, the left reminds me, it is kind of a manifestation of, I don't know whether you've ever had this happen to you, like at a bar or whatever. You're standing there and suddenly this drunk guy who's cross-eyed drunk starts looking at you. And he's like, you think you're better than me, don't you? It's like, that seems to be what the left does. They're so defensive and angry and unhinged. It's crazy.
Well, and that's why it's so important for us in the campaign and the Freedom Caucus to continue the movement, because we've only been in existence for 2 years now. We've gotten IP reform done. We've cut the budget. We've gotten the 7-1 map done, gotten the big crime bill, put pro-life issues back on the ballot. But there's so much more that we have to get done. But that's the most important part. We need strong people, because the greatest generation, as you know, Jamie, the greatest generation, my grandpa, your loved ones, they fought and created the great state, the great United States that we live in today. But because they created those good times created weak people. And those weak people have been in office for far too long, creating bad times now. And we're going through all of these times where weak men and women have emboldened these people that are mentally ill to continue stripping away our rights, continue to push this political correctness, this mental ill mindset of allowing minor children to try and change their sexes. So that's why we need strong men, strong women to stand up and preserve these constitutional rights and these Christian values that we have in our nation.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, buddy. So how can people help you out, my friend?
Go to nickschroer.com. Nick Schroer will link you up to my fundraising mechanism, all my social media, nickschroer.com, or tune in to Stand and Fight 6 to 8 p.m. every Sunday.
Yes, sir. State Senator Nick Schroer, who's the best. I knew you when you first started running, brother, and you have certainly made a very, very proud career. Your grandfather, who you mentioned the first time I ever met you when you're running, would be super proud of you, and we are all blessed by your presence in our politics. So thanks so much, brother.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week.
Good luck tonight, man. That's great. All right, coming up, we'll get an expert's opinion on the impact of the increase in the interest rates and the word inflammatory.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. Human trafficking is modern-day slavery, and it often hides in plain sight. Be alert. People who seem fearful, isolated, or who don't have their ID or money may need your help. To share a tip, call the National Human Trafficking Hotline at 888-373-7888. Together, we can protect victims and stop trafficking in Missouri.
Paid for by the Missouri Attorney General's office.
We've been here 30 years, 30 Christmases in this house, and we have the traditions that most families have.
That's Terry talking about her experience with Rhino Shield ceramic coating.
We did Rhino Shield 14 years ago, and the house still looks the same as the first day. Rhino Shield really worked with me to help me get just the right, nice, soft yellow, and it's 14 years later, and it's the same color.
The main reason Terry called Rhino Shield is because it's backed by its 25-year transferable warranty.
Just sounded wonderful that we could have the house coated with Rhino Shield and not have to worry about it again for 25 years.
Take it from Terry. Give Rhino Shield a call now for a free evaluation. 877-25-RHINO. 877-25-RHINO. Or visit 877-25rhino.com.
There have been neighbors that have come by and said, "Did you just have your house painted?" Because they wanted to know who the contractor was. And I said, "No, it's actually Rhino Shield."
877-25rhino.com.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head
to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm John Scott. With less than 2 weeks to go before a government shutdown, there's little sign of compromise on Capitol Hill on the details of a continuing resolution. Bob Agnew with the report.
All but the most essential of government services are set to shut down unless Congress can pass a continuing resolution by September 30th. The stopgap measure set for a vote in the House on Friday would keep the government up and running until mid-November. In the Senate, Republicans predict Minority Leader Chuck Schumer is holding a losing hand as he refuses to compromise with the GOP, hoping to blame Republicans for a likely shutdown. Bob Agnew reporting.
After a historic state visit to the UK, President Trump and the First Lady are returning to Washington. Meanwhile, the president is cheering the suspension of late-night TV host Jimmy Kimmel. White House correspondent Greg Clugston has more.
The president called Kimmel's suspension great news for America.
He said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk.
ABC pulled the show after pressure from Trump's FCC chairman, but the president said it wasn't a free speech issue.
You can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
Writing online, the president called for the removal of NBC's late-night hosts, Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, citing horrible ratings. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The president expected to attend Kirk's funeral in Arizona this weekend. Former U.S. Attorney Andrew C. McCarthy says the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk would likely fail if he tried to use the insanity defense.
The evidence powerfully shows a lot of planning, thoughtful motive. To prosecute a case like this successfully, you have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that this was intentional murder. And there are exacerbating factors here that go to his motive.
McCarthy was interviewed by the Salem Radio Network. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Well, it is another hot one, but it may be the last really hot one for a while, with temperatures in the low 90s today. I'm forecasting a high of 93. We'll see increasing cloudiness by later today and overnight, and some showers and thunderstorms moving in tomorrow, about a 30% chance, and that'll be the story moving forward as periods of showers and thunderstorms, daily rain chances of 30 to 40% right into next week. It won't be as hot. Boy, we could sure use the rain. I'm KMOV First Alert meteorologist Kent Earhart.
JC's Wayback Machine.
This week we'll reminisce about playing catch with Robert Redford every day for about 2 weeks on the set of The Natural. Plus, Lou Graham talks foreigner songs he hates. Desperate housewife Terry Hatcher talks about her boobs. We'll take you back to 1989 when the Stones played Busch Stadium, and we play great songs from the 90s, 80s, and 70s, all brought to you by the Weber Automotive Group.
It's JC's Wayback Machine. Every Saturday night, 6 to 9. News Talk STL.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet. I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Wait, oh, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888 to learn more about our special $67 offer.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
Ladies and gentlemen, the old school True Value Hardware, Schneider's True Value Hardware. You believe this? More than 100 years. More than 100 years in Old Town St. Peter's. I mean, that's longevity, man, I'll tell you. And it is absolutely old school, just the kind of hardware store that you might have gone to with dad or mom, for that matter. A great place. And Charlie and the team are ready to rock. And Jerry Schneider is the owner and has just great people around him. Great people who are going to help you through any one of your weekend warrior projects. Perhaps you need some gardening help, what have you. They'll be able to help you with that. And whatever you need, they've got. If you are doing some homework, meaning repairs or what have you, they've got all the tools you need. And speaking of yard work, the steel products. You know about the steel products at all? Well, steel products are the kind of the brand new rage in the battery operated tools. And so they've got the hedge trimmers, they've got the weed whackers, they even have the lawnmowers. These steel products are really cool. They're so much more superior than any of them out there, the other ones out there. So like one time I bought these home light things, and man, those are dogs, buddies. You got to make sure you get the steel products, and they've got all the sales, parts, and service for you with the steel products. So check it out. TrueValue.com/Schneiders. That's TrueValue.com/Schneiders.
The latest news.
It was just one pop, and then we all dropped to the ground.
Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk has died.
The arrest is a testament to the dedication of good law enforcement. Partners are proud to stand here today together to bring justice to the family of Charlie Kirk.
I hope he gets the death penalty. What he did, Charlie Kirk was the finest person. He didn't deserve this.
It is an attack on all of us. It is an attack on our ideals.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk. Live and local.
I need to know what's going on in my city.
News Talk STL.
I head east towards the city, and when the sun goes down, I'm headed home again. The city lights have left me empty, but they've replaced the stars that used to shine so bright. But I will smile, and I'll keep you close.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Jamie Allman here, happy to be with you. Coming up, we're going to dissect. I've been in the media a long time, right? So I know I've seen everybody in their tricks to editorialize without editorializing and all those kinds of things. One of the things they do is they put things in quotes, which might as well be air quotes, but they put anything in quotes. The so-called government accountability project, that kind of stuff. It's subtle, but people who are wise, I'm sure you all are, catch it. And the other word they're using now, which basically is code for we're glad Charlie Kirk is dead and Charlie Kirk deserved to die, is the use of the word inflammatory. So I'll dissect all that for you a little bit. But the breaking news, of course, is the fact that we've got an increase in the interest rates. And Jordan Rosenblum with Stewie's American Mortgage, just Google the bagel loan, is a great friend of mine. And he and his dad, Stewie, Jordan and his dad, Stewie, family-run operation. And that being a family-run operation means they can do things that the big guys can't and won't in terms of helping you with zero closing costs on a variety of different loans. So that's how they do it. And this lowering of the interest rate, I know Jordan's talked about what a game changer that would be, and it did happen today. Hey, how you doing, buddy?
How you doing, Jamie?
Doing great, man. Doing fine. Thank you so much. And
just wanted to start off and tell you our prayers are with you.
Thank you.
We love you.
Oh, man, I feel them, and my mom feels them, and it's been quite a past few days. And one thing I'm sure, Jordan, after all this, I've never doubted it, but man, if you ever doubted the presence of God in us and in this life, you will in moments like this. And it's been beautiful. And I appreciate the fact that my mom, once again, just simply reinforced the beauty of God and the presence of God and the importance of God, indeed, and life and even death for that matter. So thank you, buddy. Hey, so what does this mean? Is this a big enough decrease?
We got a lot going on and a lot to dissect. Okay, so Federal Reserve came out yesterday, cut interest rates by 25 basis points. Now, everyone's calling our rates dropping, our rates dropping, our rates dropping. Over the last 3 to 4 weeks, rates have been dropping in expectation of significant rate drops over the next 12 months. Okay, so rates have been dropping. Your average 30-year fixed is the best it's been in over 2 years.
Wow.
Okay, so this is a massive, decrease in rates over the last 3 to 4 weeks. It's going to continue, but there are variables to this. This may not stay here forever. This doesn't mean that, you can sit back and just watch rates fall for the next, 2 years while the Federal Reserve tries to cut interest rates. The Fed funds rate does not directly correlate to your 30-year fixed loan. The 30-year fixed rates are based on bonds, and there's a lot of other factors, 10-year treasuries, that are pushed by inflation and labor numbers. So they correlate quite a bit, but they are not based on each other. So to summarize, rates are falling. This can change overnight. If you start to see high inflation readings, if you start to see the job market strong, then you're going to see the Fed is going to have to potentially raise interest rates to keep things steady or at base. That happens, you're going to see mortgage rates go up. So it is not simple to sit back and say, hey, rates are going to drop. I'm going to keep waiting to do a refi because rates are going to drop more and more and more. So with the bagel loan and no closing costs, you can save a ton of money right now, Jamie. I'm saving clients. I can't even tell you. I saved a client 2 days ago, $1,500 a month.
Wow.
On his mortgage. $1,500. Now, he was at a mid 8% rate and it was a very high balance. And we got him to the mid sixes with no closing costs, saving $1,500 a month. Average client right now, let's just say not a $2 million home, but $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 home. If you bought in the last year, you're looking at minimum $150 to $200 in savings per month at no cost to you. So to capitalize on that and do it now, and let's say rates drop again in 6 months, no harm, no foul. You do it again. There's no closing cost either time.
Yeah.
If you wait, you're in trouble, because if you wait and rates go up, you're stuck.
Right. And speaking, because I do the real estate side of it, and I will always refer people to you because of what you do and what you and your dad and everybody there is able to do. But people have to realize too that if you're going to buy a home, or you're in the market to buy a home, you need to do it now with the current listings, because lower interest rates automatically will ultimately mean higher home prices. So if you're looking at something now, go ahead and do it. I have a question from
1,000. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's true, right, Jordan? Correct?
Yes,
okay.
Absolutely.
Somebody was asking if you do home equity line of credits on at all.
Yeah. So home equity, you have to also realize anybody who's a homeowner, your equity's grown quite a bit, right? And let's say you refinance when rates were at 2% and you don't want to lose your interest rate, right? So a home equity loan could be the answer. Okay. We have plenty of products available. We do home equity loans. We do fixed rate second mortgages, which is very similar to a home equity loan. It's probably better, because it's a fixed interest rate. We can do any type of loan that somebody needs on a home. You can call us. We can take care of it. A home equity loan is a great product for the right person. I don't always recommend it, but here's the thing with us. And Jamie, you know this, but I don't know if your listeners know this. If you call me and we can't help you or it's not the best thing for you, I am going to tell you not to do it. I'm not going to sell. We don't sell. We're honest. We look at it. And I've told countless people not to refinance.
Oh,
Countless
yeah.
People.
Wow. That's great. Yeah. I mean, I know that's true. I mean, there's no reason that you have no incentive just to kind of lead people on anyway. And of course, the debt consolidations kind of operate the same way too, in terms of closing costs and all that kind of stuff as a loan.
Any any loan that we do over $200,000, there's going to be zero closing costs. So no title fees, no lender fees, no points, no appraisal fees, not even a credit report fee. Everything is covered by me. I had a client yesterday that we refinanced. He's like, I can't believe this is true. His lender told him when he bought his house that he gets one free refinance. He called his lender to refi it because rates would come down. The lender quoted him at 7%. We locked him in yesterday, a little bit over 6%, with no closing costs on a free refinance.
Wow.
So the point is the lenders try to tell you, we'll give you a free refi. They can't do it how we do it. Our rates are way better. Our cost is zero, and you're getting true market rate. 7% is way over market rate. So they're building into the rate to cover his closing costs.
Right.
They don't have any closing costs.
Yeah, we've had that situation before. I've had that with a client where you asked that question because somebody was, he eventually went with you, but this guy was saying, well, no, we can do this for you. We're going to give you a credit, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
And his rates were higher and closing costs were higher and titling fees and all that stuff. So, yeah, I mean, these games that people play are crazy. Also wanted to make sure people realize too, that there's an assumption, because I found out about this the other day with a VA loan, somebody utilizing a VA loan or looking for a home using a VA loan, and they're working with this other organization. And I said, man, you need to work with Jordan because you guys think that maybe some of these veterans financing places are, all going to give veterans a break, whatever. Sometimes their costs are so high and people forget that not all VA loans are the same. I mean,
it's obscene to me what these companies advertise to veterans. Number one, I always say, and we pride ourselves on thanking our veterans for their service. And it's a disservice to veterans when companies come out and they name themselves, veterans blank or this veterans that, and they charge them ridiculous amount of fees to close. So we do any VA loan. Anytime I get a call from a client who's working with one of these big VA veterans companies, we save them thousands. On top of that, I won't name the company on air, but a massive, massive veterans loan company, all of their staff that's based in St. Louis calls me to do their mortgages. So if they're not doing their own mortgages, it tells you they're ripping people off to, in the meantime. So it's as a veteran, you deserve the VA loan is the best loan out there, and you deserve the best rates with no closing costs, and the VA refinance is the best. If anybody is listening and you're a veteran, number one, thank you for your service. If you're over a 6%, you need to call us. We are locking VAs extremely low rates with no cost.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think and veterans are great, and we appreciate them. And I have so many who listen to the show and this radio station, but some veterans think, well, they're not going to, why would they screw me? I'm a veteran, but they absolutely in some cases do. You don't need to go through it. You deserve all the best service and the best financial options you can get. And, to tell you the truth, just really quickly, I wish more real estate agents were able to say that as well in terms of the VA loan, because there are a lot of uneducated real estate agents out there who basically reject VA loans because they don't think they're solid enough. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen, but that's the way it is sometimes.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a tough business out there, but if you have someone you can trust, lean on it.
Oh, absolutely, man. All right. Well, listen, how do people get a hold of you? Just you give us your phone number, but I want to make sure you all just Google the bagel loan and you have all the contact information you need. But Jordan, why don't you shove out a great number that would be good for people?
Yeah. Text or call me anytime, 314-442-9570. We're available. We can talk at nights, after hours, Sundays, whatever day you need. We're here.
All right, brother. Well, I appreciate you so much, man. And tell your dad thank you. And I appreciate you guys supporting free, common sense, conservative radio. You're the best. And love working with you and also talking about you on the air as well. So thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
All right, man.
Have a great day.
You too. That is Jordan Rosenblum. So awesome. Yeah. We're going to break down how the news media says Charlie Kirk didn't deserve to die, but here's why he deserved to die. That's how it goes. I'm not fooling anybody, people. This is Common Sense Radio. It's the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
I think we should be able to have a civil conversation.
The news and talk that matters to St. Louis.
This conversation has completely made me crazy.
This is complete insanity.
News Talk STL.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about Newstedter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. What an amazing group of people. These are people who are jewelers, not salespeople. So they approach the jewelry business in the situation where they take it very seriously, meaning they take the pricing, which means they want to be super competitive. They take customer service very seriously, and they take quality very seriously. So there are a lot of people, for instance, who have gold. Well, Newstedter's doesn't want to just go with anybody who has gold. They buy from a particular outlet that has the highest quality gold, the most beautiful gold, and they've got plenty of it now at Newstedter's Fine Jewelry. When it comes to the emeralds and the sapphires, only the finest gems are the gems they carry at Newstedter's Fine Jewelry. And, of course, the lab-grown diamonds as well as the amazing mined diamonds as well. Great pricing, super competitive. They've got people who, generations who shop at Newstedter's Fine Jewelry, wowdiamonds.com. So you have people who bought their wedding ring and wedding set at Newstedter's Fine Jewelry. Now their kids are coming in to wowdiamonds.com and doing it. Also, don't forget about the fine line of Bulova watches they have there. The Frank Sinatra Bulova watch line is outstanding. And don't also forget about the amazing layaway policy they have, which is really cool and old school. And they have a wish list as well. You can put something on there you like, and when your loved one's shopping for you, they know what they're looking for when they go to Newstedter's Fine Jewelry. wowdiamonds.com.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli, and my favorite sandwich from Capriati's is the Wagyu beef French dip. So good. It's the au jus that makes it. And the Wagyu beef is pretty good too. I love Capriati's, and you will too.
On Manchester at McKnight in Rock Hill.
You've worked hard for your money, so protect it. Meet my friend Bob Leslie and ask about the Gain and Retain Plan. Leslie Consulting, 40 years in the St. Louis area as a leader in brokerage and risk management. Call 314-721-0066, 721-0066. Oh, and ask Bob how he was the LA Dodger #1 pick. LeslieConsulting.com.
Grasser Electric, grasserelectric.com. And I love Shane Grasser. He has been a supporter of free, common sense, conservative radio ever since I named it Common Sense Radio. And that's been about 20 years. And so since 2005. And he's been a supporter of the show. And it's gotten to the point where his son is doing a majority of the ownership responsibilities at Grasser Electric. So it's a fabulous place. It's a family-run operation. No job is too big and no job is too small for Grasser Electric. It's an amazing place, and they'll come and do that list you have developed over the past few months of things that need to be fixed. I actually have one of those, and that's going to happen. Sean is the one who normally comes out. I'm going to have that taken care of, a bunch of different little stuff taken care of so I can have some fun with the kids or whatever. But I don't have to do that. And so they'll take care of these things for you. They also do commercial work. So if you have a business and you need help with electrical, whatever, they will be able to take care of it for you as well. So check it out right there on the web. That's grasserelectric.com. That's grasserelectric.com.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
Thanks for being my voice in all this.
This is News Talk STL.
There are people out there that feel the way that I feel and say what I say.
Welcome home.
I came home like a stone, and I fell heavy into your arms.
You know, it's amazing
These days of dark,
some of the things that happen around
will blow away
what would otherwise be a sad experience. And how God turns what otherwise would be a sad experience into a beautiful one, into an inspiring moment, not a depleting moment. Into a moment of hope and joy and happiness. And as I said earlier, I'm going to miss my mom a ton. And I really want to see her now. But I'm super happy for her because I know where she is. And she's with all the people she raved about in our conversations about her family and her past and her parents, grandparents, and life. And they're all there. And another really, truly beautiful thing happened, which was really amazing. So sometimes it's like, God, you are so loving. You are so gracious. You are so detailed. So I this really lovely couple, Elena and Patrick, Hebner. I'm going to have to say their last name because they're ridiculous. So I showed them a house about 2 weeks ago. And Elena shows up with flowers. And I'm thinking, and they're for me. And I was thinking to myself, wow, I've never actually, I'd never even met them or her. And she shows up at the house where I'm going to show them with flowers for me. Hi, these are for you. I'm like, what? Well, it also happens that Elena is a florist. And this is what she does for a living. She has these wonderful little floral parties for people. Like, for instance, you could build your own bouquet. It's kind of like some people have, ice cream sundae stations or whatever, and little sprinkles here. But you can make your own bouquet, have a little thing for your girls, your kids, or whatever, grandkids. And, of course, she also does, of course, anything that needs flowers, weddings, memorials, banquets, whatever it happens to be. Just go to Flora me, so FLORAMILOU.com. Ashton will put it up there for you. Flora, MILOU, FloraMilou.com, Milieu. So that's not why I'm doing this. But so anyway, I ended up talking to her about my mom being very ill when she got very ill, and on Sunday, and then on Monday, let's see. Oh, and then so anyway, it's everything's such a blur. So, she says, "Hey, I want to make a flower arrangement for your mom and for your family. I'm going to make the flower arrangement, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to, after you all have had it in the hospital room, and my goodness gracious, it brightened up this hospital room. It was gorgeous. And after you're done with the flowers, I'm going to take them back from you, and I'm going to press them for all 6 of the kids and put them in a frame for you. I'm going to press them for you." I'm like, that's crazy, because she can do that. She can do all kinds of different floral designs and things like that. So anyway, she comes and she hands me a question, or not, she texted me a questionnaire, like what my mom's favorite color was. There's some debate about that. I believe it was lavender. Other people, it's red. It's like, I don't know. Anyway, she passed away in lavender, I will tell you. But anyway, lavender, her, what you saw most important in her, and I said it was joyfulness, and patience, and a couple other questions. And so she developed a floral bouquet, I don't know, out of a variety of different flowers that all had different meanings, that were true different meanings. One was like a rose that meant love and everything else, and the others were like this. I don't have the piece of paper with me, but there are all kinds of these really amazing flowers that were, this flower means eternal life, or enlighten. This flower is enlightenment and joy, and every little flower had a different meaning. And so she wants to bring them to the hospital, and she brings them to the hospital. She's got her coworker Kindle with her, and I say, "Well, you want to come up?" Because I didn't know, my mom was unconscious, basically in the hospital, but my family's there. I said, "You want to come up?" "Yeah, because I want to read this." So she came in. We put the flowers right next to my mom, and then Elena read this thing she wrote that described each flower. It really was just so amazing that this was an outgrowth of just a simple blind lead in real estate. You know what I mean? Unbelievable. So yeah, you're talking to yourself, you're thinking, man, there is really, this is amazing, how God is so loving and also surprising sometimes as well. So I have to hand you that, God. He needs my reaffirmation, right? So anyway, I was curious about this story I was reading in the Post-Dispatch, and I want to let you know that there are a variety of ways that journalists and people in the media lie without lying, and mislead without necessarily misleading, and editorialize without, in their mind, editorializing. But a lot of us are very, very smart people, and we know what is a lie and what is a misdirection and what is editorializing when we see it. So I'm reading the story about Charlie Kirk, and the reporter uses the word inflammatory to describe Charlie Kirk. Now, they would never use inflammatory to describe anybody who is liberal. Tell me one time. If you can tell me one time, Jeff Allen will give you $10,000. I'm kidding. I'm not gonna do it. You tell me one time Vic Porcelli will give you $10 million if you can find one time. You can have his house, everything. If you can tell me one time where the news media, I'm talking about the mainstream media, has ever called a left-wing or liberal person inflammatory. You tell me one time. Find it. Hey, listen, with the way they do AI now and everything else, you should be able to find that. So anyway, they describe him as inflammatory. So that's a word that normally a person will see, and they'll think that the word inflammatory is it's just an innocuous word. It's just a word, I guess it means provocative or something, but they wouldn't use the word provocative because provocative isn't code for he deserved to die, which is exactly what the reporter's saying. So anytime you hear anybody in the news media describe Charlie Kirk as inflammatory, they're telling you he deserved to die. And there's no denying it. There is no sugarcoating it. And I looked up inflammatory just to make sure I was more precise about it. It says tending to excite anger, disorder, or tumult. And other words, seditious. That's another word that they put in there for inflammatory. So inflammatory is a word that the news media is hiding behind in order to hide the fact that they actually believe that Charlie Kirk deserved to die. Because and that he had it coming. Because he excited anger, disorder, and tumult. So they're basically blaming Charlie Kirk for his own death because of words that came out of his mouth and exonerating the people who committed the murder. And by the way, there are people who committed the murder. There's a whole group of them. Right now, they're termites hiding in the internet, and they will be found. And, I don't know what's happening now with some people with their knives out for Kash Patel. My goodness gracious. I mean, can we just go 2 weeks without some conservative group of people like just starting to get their knives out for somebody in the Trump administration over nothing? This Kash Patel nonsense is ridiculous. And by the way, as I said even before this last week, Spencer Cox is an idiot. He's all over the news. He's the guy that created chaos in Utah over his policies and his leniency, and the situation where he vetoed a bill that would have protected women's sports, girls' sports. He vetoed the bill. So he was stonewalling and filibustering. That's why Kash Patel didn't say much, by the way, because Spencer Cox wanted to make it all about him. And if you're not sick of Spencer Cox yet, you will be. But anyway, inflammatory. That's what they use to describe Charlie Kirk. That is a unspoken but clear opinion, an editorial that Charlie Kirk is to be blamed for his death and the attacks on him. And that's how the media hides the fact that they believe exactly what they believe, and that is they believe that Charlie Kirk deserved to die. And they use words that just hide it. This happens all the time in the news media. Sometimes it's kind of hard to pick up on, but keep in mind, you and me as conservatives, we pick up on these lies in the mainstream media. And so what that reporter at the Post was doing by using the term inflammatory was just simply giving the liberal readers of the Post-Dispatch, because that's the only people, those only people who really actually read it with any kind of completion. But they're really just giving people reading the Post-Dispatch a pacifier. to make them feel better about Charlie Kirk's murder. So they're just basically giving people a sense of, hey, don't worry, he was inflammatory. And they're, oh yeah, you're right, reporter, he was inflammatory. So that's what that is. I mean, for you and me, we see it and we know that's editorializing. For the people who are reading it, who are liberal, it's comforting. It's designed to comfort them and say, yeah, he deserved to die because he was inflammatory. So all the rest of this reporting is just about about the killing and about the shooting. All this kind of stuff is really just stuff we're reporting. But we want you to know, Post-Dispatch, to you, the liberal reader, that he deserved to die. And that's what the word inflammatory is. I didn't find this definition on some, conservative encyclopedia. This is in a, it's on the internet, but it's actually a legit dictionary on the internet that says that. So I'm not pulling your leg on that or embellishing it at all. So, all right, coming up, I got to double back on this. I know you probably heard other people talk about it, but I kind of knew this was coming, that this would be turned into a Charlie Kirk murder situation. Would be turned into a love story. You had to know that was coming, right? Yeah. Hey, this is Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL.
Free speech is alive and well in America.
Thanks for taking my call.
Right here.
You know what's going on?
Have a great awakening.
You see through the smoke screen.
It's cool to be woke. News Talk STL. Until it's not. News, analysis, opinion.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about the Hideout right there in High Ridge. It is 10 minutes south of 270 in Grabois. Super easy to get to. And what a beautiful place, especially in this beautiful weather. I know it's a little hot out there, but that doesn't matter. It's still a breeze. We're going to be turning in this thing. And in fall and autumn are great times to be out on that sunset patio, watching the sunset, having a drink, maybe even listening to music, because that happens all weekend long. And they have lunch and dinner 7 days a week. They've introduced their dinners a while back. Their dinners are super special because they have both the steak side and the chicken side and the fish side. And a lot of people love the fact that they can just settle in at the Hideout, have a drink, maybe an appetizer, and then settle in for dinner. It's really very cool. And our buddy Rick Pogue and Jake, these guys are great owners of the Hideout. They take super great care of their employees, which means you're getting happy service from all the wonderful people there. It's the Hideout right there, 10 minutes south in High Ridge of 270 in Grabois.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris.
How are you, Vic?
I don't want to put anybody else down, but that when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that. The stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something about Stewart's American Mortgage. You just heard from Jordan Rosenblum, right? And Jordan was telling you about the lower rates now and all the ways he can save you money. And I'm talking about zero closing costs on the loans, zero closing costs, people, on your refis, on your line of credit, on your debt consolidation, and on your home buying. It's a pretty amazing. He just said earlier when he was on the show that he basically saved one guy, $1,500 a month on his mortgage. I mean, this is really pretty amazing. And let me tell you something. These guys are great. All you have to do is Google the bagel loan. Google the bagel loan, and that's where you find the numbers, and that's where you just call the numbers, and they get it straight. There's a reason why it's called the bagel loan. Stewie's from Brooklyn, and Brooklyn has bagels, and he said, we're going to call it the bagel loan because people will understand that because it's a zero, and that is exactly how they deliver it. Jordan says, our secret is really no secret. The fact that we are a family-run operation, we're a smaller business. We're not trying to recover any of these outside costs the way most people do. And so we can help people in a real way as real people and save them a ton of money. Google the bagel loan, Stewie's American Mortgage, Stewart'sAMC.com. Google the bagel loan.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
Former President Obama is now implying that Donald Trump is to blame for Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Larry Connors USA. Now weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
My baby don't care for shows. My baby don't care for clothes. My baby just cares for me. My baby don't care for cars and races. My baby don't care for
High tone places.
high tone
Plays. Good old Nina Simone, baby.
Taylor is not a star high, and even Lana Turner's smile. Something he can't see.
Man, you look up some videos of Nina Simone.
My baby don't care.
She was a badass. You see her playing in the jazz festivals and stuff, and she's got this she's got these big hoop earrings on. Beautiful woman, really, wearing this African patterned dress. Pretty cool. A little crazy too, to tell you the truth. Who isn't, right? I think she moved to France and kind of got crazy a little bit, but that's just how it is. But she's a wonderful musician. All right. So you guys knew this was coming, and I know other people have talked about this already because I've been out for a little while, as you know. But I wanted to double back on it because this was really shocking. So you guys know Montel Williams. I actually one time had him on the my TV show. And he was a nice guy, and he at this point he was advocating for the legalization of medical marijuana, which was actually a really good idea, and it's helped a lot of people who have muscular problems and cancer problems, everything else. The only reason that it wasn't legalized for medicine sooner is because the pharmaceutical companies own 95% of the politicians in this country. So that's why. And I think we ought to get to the point too, especially for veterans, where psilocybin, which is a derivative of mushrooms and everything else. And so I don't know, Michael Burton, he says Nina Simone was not a DEI hire. No, I don't think I said that, but oh well. Yeah. Michael, if I'm you, I'm staying off the internet because you're going to have a little bit of trouble with Ken Williams. So if I'm you, I'm kind of like, even if you're saying something nice, I would just stop typing at this point because, yeah. Anyway, so back to him. So when we see Montel Williams and he's honest, we knew this was coming. Because we knew that there was going to be a situation where this was a guy, apparently a guy who had like a lover who was transgendered, who decided that because Charlie Kirk didn't approve necessarily of I wouldn't say approve. He just gave it. He said, I don't think you can be that. So whatever. But I mean, it's none of my business, but I don't think you can be that. And he advocated, of course, for not having men in women's sports and that kind of thing, which isn't transphobic or anything. And he wasn't scared of trans people. He just said, well, I don't, you knock yourself out. You can do that, but I'm not going to be adjusting my life, and my daughters aren't going to be playing with you in sports with guys. So whatever, but be trans all you want. I don't care. I'm not confirming it for you. So whatever you think. Well, that of course is hate language, right? Because you're not giving them what you want, what they want, which is affirmation. So anyway, this guy had a lover who was transgendered, and so the story is in the minds of people trying to excuse it is, oh, he was a chivalrous. He was murdering Charlie Kirk for his transgendered lover, which is an honor killing. Well, Scott Jennings totally ripped Montel apart on this.
A love-torn child, a kid. This is probably his first real relationship, and somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building.
By the way, it's another lie that people like Montel. Montel's smarter than this. Where has it been in any setting that Charlie Kirk disparaged transgender people? I mean, your lack of confirmation of a transgendered person isn't a disparagement, but that's how they see it because they're basically gaslighting. So if you're not affirming whatever their belief is, then that's disparaging. Like let's just pretend that I'm trying to think of something like religious or whatever. Let's say I say to somebody who is a Protestant that, well, you guys just think it's bread and wine. We actually, through the Eucharistic prayer, actually believe it's the body and blood of Christ. Therefore, your Eucharistic process isn't really real. They would be like, oh, you're disparaging our Eucharistic process. I go, no, I'm just telling you what we believe. But that's what we believe. But I don't believe that what you're doing is unreal. But since you asked, I'm telling you how I feel about it. But that doesn't. But what do I care? What you believe or what you think. But one time there was even a priest who kind of insinuated during a mass that anybody who doesn't believe what the Catholic Church believes in the Eucharistic prayer isn't connected to Jesus. Well, I had to, in a real way, after that mass, I had to tell the girls who were at mass with me, I said, by the way, ignore that. Don't take that into the world. Don't take that into the world because that'll mean that you are basically telling them that their faith is fake. And nobody can tell anybody that. So anyway, I know that's kind of off the top, but Charlie Kirk was just simply saying, no, man's a man, woman's a woman, and that's what I believe. And if you don't believe that, that's fine. But your boys aren't going to play with my girls in athletics because that's going to be part of law. That's going to be part of the politic. And I don't approve of that. That's not a disparagement. But anyway, that's a long way to go for that. But here.
And somebody was disparaging the person that he loved. He sat on that building for 30 minutes before he took the shot. Why did he wait until the first word trans came up? Then
why did he wait? 200 yards away, you can't hear, can you? Or I don't know. Maybe you can.
Took the shot.
You think he heard it? He could hear it.
I think he could hear it. I think he also
So somebody on the ground heard it. In fact, if I'm the police, I'm again diverting here. If I'm the police, I'm going back to that guy I played last week who was the one who asked the question. I'm going back to him. So I said at the very beginning, this guy didn't act alone, and he didn't. He might have been the one that pulled the trigger, but in the end, he didn't act alone. But
I don't believe he was motivated politically. I think this was motivated emotionally.
Guys,
Scott, take him down.
The evidence here is overwhelming. He said, Charlie Kirk, I can't stand this hate anymore. I'm going to take him out. The testimony from him and the statements of his family, he had become more left wing. He etched the statements that are made by the left about Republicans and conservatives and Charlie Kirk fascist on the bullet casings.
He made a joke.
By the way, the New York Times today had a story that said, oh, by the way, those writings on the bullet casing really meant nothing. And they quoted this punk saying, well, it's just one big meme. Well, that doesn't mean it meant nothing. All those things meant everything. But the New York Times, like, well, those really were just meant nothing.
Joke about it in his last text.
Well, it doesn't sound like a joke to me because someone's dead and about to be buried.
Well,
so it doesn't sound like a joke to me. So I'm just telling you, there is an effort. There was an effort all weekend long on the left to try to make this guy sound like he was a conservative. That failed. That was passed around all over the weekend. That has now failed. The evidence has now come out. He was motivated by hate. He was motivated by left-wing radicalism. He got mixed up with some trans ideology in his life. We'll learn more about that, I'm sure, when more evidence and testimony comes out. We are looking around the edges of this for something other than what's staring us in the face. Left-wing radicalism got this kid. He went up to a roof and he murdered our friend, and that's what happened.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate that. So, and it's not just Montel Williams. ABC is doing it.
We have seen an alleged murder with such specific text messages about the alleged murder weapon, where it was hidden, how it was placed, what was on it. But also, it was very touching in a way that I think many of us didn't expect. A very intimate portrait into this relationship between the suspect's roommate and the suspect himself, with him repeatedly calling his roommate, who is transitioning, calling him my love, and I want to protect you, my love.
Yeah. So that's the new thing. Oh, whatever. That's the new line because they've run out of options. Oh, Michael's little butt hurt. I know you want to silence those on the left. I don't want to silence anybody on the left. I think you ought to keep talking so that we can bury you guys for good. In the 26th election and 2028. So no, I don't want to silence you at all. It's too much fun listening to you indict yourselves and basically commit political suicide every time your mouth opens. So I don't want Kimmel off the air. I want him on the air. I want you guys to talk as much as you possibly can because it's a gold mine whenever you guys run your fat mouths. On that note, have a good rest of your day, everybody. This is Common Sense Radio. Tony Colombo and Company next. Ashland, thank you so much.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros, your all-in-one gutter service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. We discovered Gutter Pros a few years ago when we bought our home and inherited a gutter issue that was on the road to becoming a potentially big problem, but thanks to Gutter Pros was stopped before causing any major damage. They've also repaired the siding on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation,